Mountain Bike Mania! Woo!
Mountain Bike Mania is brought to you by KHS Bicycles, a full line of bicycles sold in 30 countries. Jensen USA, America's #1 online retailer of bikes and accessories, ODI, the world leader in grip technology, and Angel Fire Bike Park, the top-rated bike park in the Southwest. Hello again, I'm Samantha McDonald, and welcome to another episode of Mountain Bike Mania. We've traded the lush Pacific Northwest for the equally beautiful Appalachian Trail. This week, we're coming to you from the Mountain Creek Resort in Vernon, New Jersey. This is race 2 in USA Cycling's Pro GRT series, and if the first race was any indication, we have an exciting race in store for you today. Race 1 winner and points leader Aussie Connor Fearon isn't here today at Mountain Creek, so you can be sure that riders like Logan Bingley and Lucas Shaw will be looking to earn points today and position themselves for the series win. But for riders like the 2014 series champ Kevin Aiello, who is rebounding from a crash at Dry Hill, earning points won't be easy. Why? Because they'll have to contend with one of the world's top riders, American Aaron Gwin. And as if all that wasn't enough, the course at Mountain Creek is looking especially tough today. Here are Ross and Mikey Hatterer for more on the race and course conditions.
Thanks, sis. The weather's been pretty inconsistent. It's raining now. All of practice and qualifying, it's been dry as a bone. Yeah, the course actually probably the dustiest we've ever seen here at Mountain Creek. Not typical East Coast weather, but all racers waking up this morning to some torrential downpours. Really changing the course. We'll see how some of our juniors stack up. Not really used to this massive change.
It's pretty funny. The top 5 juniors qualifying here, all from California. They've been saying all weekend the dirt has been just like that, pretty loose and dusty. But today we'll see how the East Coasters they can step it up a notch.
Definitely a little home court advantage with some of the wet routes. And again, in our pro men's category too, some Southern California boys on top, but also a couple somewhat local boys sneaking in there in the dry conditions.
Yeah, we'll see how things pan out. Let's go to a course preview real quick.
Asylum. Keeping it smooth. Nice little section. Roller. Into the big drop. Hard on the brakes. Woo!
Let's check out the qualifying segment brought to you by KHS Bicycles.
Run up.
You're from North Carolina. How has that prepared you for today?
It's definitely not this dusty at home. I've been here a few years, and this is the most dusty it's ever been.
Yeah, I think more about just being smooth and carrying speed, and if it's wet tomorrow, then I think lines will come more into play because all those rocks and roots will get slippery, and you'll kind of need to be on your lines better. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay guys, we want to hear from you. Follow us on Instagram, post a photo or video of you shredding on your bike, use the hashtag MTBMania, and you could be featured on an upcoming episode. The riders are starting to line up and you can feel the excitement building. We all want to know, will Charlie Harrison continue his dominance in the junior expert races, or will today be the day that someone finally beats him? And who will be the new Pro GRT Series points leader? It's anyone's guess. Now let's go to Ross and Mikey Hatterer for the race call.
Here's our ODI scoreboard. We've got Charlie Harrison, Steve Walton, Bruce Klein, and then Nick Nessroff and Andras Simon for the top 5. They're actually all from SoCal. All right, we are here at Mountain Creek, New Jersey for round number 2 Pro GRT. First junior on track today, Andras Simon, in-cycle rider out of Southern California.
It's getting a little wild through the rocks there.
Yeah, up on top, Mountain Creek pretty much known for being really rocky, usually a very wet track.
It's surprisingly been dusty. I mean, everyone's talking about how the California people are very comfortable.
Yeah, normally this track gets a lot of thunder showers and turns these wet rocks and roots into a real slick mess, but as you can see, it's been pretty dry, only a light amount of rain, almost just enough to keep some of the dust down and let riders really go, kind of open it up. Into the first split, and he's 1.1 up. Andras really comfortable in these dry conditions.
Over all those roots, see the bike working there.
A little bit of a slide out, having to hold speed, sprinting into this finish jump.
Nice little whip. Wow. That's a big jump, isn't it?
That is not a small jump. New leader, 2:18.48. Solid 4 seconds, 3.5 seconds to be exact.
Is that a lot on such a short course?
On a short track, that's a very big margin. Anything over a second on a track under 3 minutes is a pretty good one.
Right. Well, here's Nick Nesteroff. He's on the Palmer project, only 15 years old. Oh, taking his
losing
foot out.
a foot in the rocks. That's a dangerous place for that to happen.
He seemed like he just kept trucking through, though.
Yeah, one of our smaller riders. Not a lot seems to phase this kid. We see him ride out of some pretty wild situations.
And here, the only thing that matters is your exit speed into that jump, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That rock garden called the Asylum Rock Garden is one of the famous spots here at Mountain Creek. And going through it's fast, but your exit speed is really what matters.
Just a tiny little bit up on Andras.
There it is, yeah. Those intense bikes really working for these boys.
Off the big Red Bull drop.
That drop actually deceivingly large, but at the speed riders are hitting it, it's really tough to catch all of the backside and get your braking points done. Oh, running a little wide in that turn, having to really flick the bike around those trees.
Back on the pedals for the last jump. Oh, sideways.
Big old scrub off that finish, trying to stay low. And new leader.
Yep.
Made up even more time in the bottom of that track.
Here's his foot.
Oh.
You know, just checking.
That is probably the worst possible situation. All it needs is one rock clip and your day is over.
Here we go, Bruce Klein. He's been on fire this year in SoCal. See if he can bring his luck over to the East Coast.
Yeah, hasn't had too much luck at the GRTs yet. We're used to seeing a lot out of this kid in Southern California, but he just hasn't had the luck at the national rounds.
The dirt might suit him pretty well, though.
This, actually gapping down into that section, taking a smooth line on the exit. Maybe a little longer, but holding a little bit more speed.
He's really good at letting the bike roll and not touching the brake.
Yeah, we see Bruce on track, and it's one of those letting it wide.
Nice.
Oh, almost a full second up on Nick. 0.88 of a second. Oh, outran our cameraman there on the Red Bull drop.
Flying through the drop and over the rocks.
Into these last trees. In all reality, most riders are pretty evenly matched on the top rock, high speed part of this track. This lower tree section really makes or breaks their run.
Well, he's already up, so let's see if he can hold it third finish line.
Followed by Bryn Atkinson.
That jump measuring out almost 50 feet. And new leader
barely.
by 2/10. That means he lost a little bit in the bottom. Nick must have had a really good bottom split.
I bet he's happy to be in first, though. With 2 riders to go, we got Steve Walton from Corona.
Another Southern California intense rider. Those guys have got to be happy down in Temecula with the way this young team is doing.
Outside on that rock.
Outside line, a bit of a speed bump, but he seemed to make it work for him.
And he's only 15 too, and he qualified second.
Yeah, big things coming out of that kid. He's got some of the biggest hands I've ever seen on a 15-year-old, so he's able to hold on to this bike over some really nasty terrain.
I feel like every GRT we see him, he grows about an inch.
Maybe, it's very true. His hair probably grows faster. Gapping down into that rock face, nice and smooth on the exit. Coming into our first split, let's see how he goes against Bruce. Oh, he's down. He's down by about a second. 1.02 back into the lower trees. Again, this section not as high speed as the rest of the track, so every little mistake can really hurt your exit speed and lose time.
Yeah, just slamming into all the rocks.
Into the finish, we see a little bit of wind there, might have blown him, and he's down by just a hair into third, 218.2. Steve really good at keeping the bike smooth, though. We can see him jumping into that section, making the bike work for him.
Well, last up, we got our top qualifier, Charlie Harrison. He was top qualifier at the last race in Port Angeles and ended up winning, so let's see if he can make it. Is this 2 in a row for the GRTs?
This would be 2 in a row for him. He actually took the same line as Steve through there, just carrying a little bit more speed.
Oh, we got this camera up.
Into the high-speed open bit. This section, probably one of the fastest and roughest we're going to see all year on the GRT
it's off
circuit.
camber where he is right now. You just got to dig in your tires.
Exactly. That section as well, just huge G-outs. Into the Asylum Garden. Nice, tight exit. Lots of exit speed. Pedaling and sprinting over that jump. Pedaling out of that corner, still the gap line in.
Yeah.
Into our first split.
Let's see what happens. Ooh, he must have gone down or something, huh?
Must have had some issue on track. Almost 4 seconds down. That's a huge margin on this track.
He's usually, pretty darn close.
Yeah, especially being our #1 qualifier, we expect to see a lot out of him. In through these last turns, holding it very tight though, nice and tidy through those turns. Into the last corner over the finish line jump.
Coming with a vengeance. I bet he's mad if he crashed. I almost overjumped that.
Into second.
Wow.
Only 1/10 of a second.
He made up 4 seconds.
4 seconds in the lower part of this track. The only explanation has got to be some sort of a crash that was off camera. We'll have to talk to him about that later.
Must have been angry.
He's definitely not going to be happy with that run.
Well, here's our ODI scoreboard. Got Bruce Klein taking down the win, followed by Charlie Harrison, Nick Nestroff, Steve Walton, and Andros Simon. All the SoCal kids on top. Let's take a look at our pro men's start list brought to you by ODI. We've got Aaron Gwynn in that top qualifying position, followed by Luca Shaw from North Carolina, Jason Schroeder, all the way from SoCal, just like Aaron Gwynn. See how East first West goes.
Yeah. All right, pro men here at Mountain Creek.
Starting us off, Walker Shaw out of North Carolina.
Walker on the SRAM TLD program with his brother Luca, doing a full World Cup push this year. Luca nearly overall champ last year in the World Cup.
They've been riding a lot of motos in the off season. Let's see how wide open he's tucking like crazy.
Yeah, Walker, one of the smoothest riders on the circuit. He's basically the king of the manual. We see him on all the pump track competitions, never really putting his front wheel down. So see how it relates onto the rough downhill tracks.
He's very balanced, but I hear he pedals out. He breaks in and pedals out, so his exit speed is about the same, but it wears him out throughout the track.
Yeah, this course maybe not so much of an issue with that, with it being such a short course. Oh, he is up though.
Nice.
Up by 1.6.
Yeah, Walker.
Walker, one of our lower qualifiers. I think he had a crash in qualifying, so we usually expect to see him a little bit earlier in the day.
And he was, I think he was your collegiate national champ for Division II. He may have been, I think he was, yeah.
Oh,
there he goes. Wow.
Killer time. Almost 4 seconds up on Matt Orlando. 2:13.67. That's only a few seconds up of our top qualifier, Aaron Gwynn, yesterday.
A good run. Well, here's Bryn Atkinson out of Washington and Australia.
He's your overall points leader right now.
So he wants to put in a clean run and probably not risk it. But
Bryn, also one of the smoothest riders we see on the track. He usually never looks like he's trying all that hard, and it equates to a lot of track speed and overall speed in his runs. You notice right there, just very leisurely down some of the roughest, fastest parts of this track, making that
very calculated.
Very, very smooth.
Here he is into the rocks, just rolling it super smooth. Back on the pedals.
Sprinting into these berms as well.
Oh, outside.
Oh, running a little wide, but
almost hit that tree.
Coming into our first split, Ross. Let's see how he does.
Sending it. Oh, little back off Walker's time.
0.64, yeah, not too far off though. We've seen a lot of time made up in our junior category in these lower trees.
Did you think, you said the lower part of the track is a little slower, is that right, Mike?
It's a little bit slower speed, actually a lot slower speed. Wow.
So no finish line camera, but he's still completely a full second, 0.2.
Made up a full second and a half through the split.
Nice. Well, here's Bubba Warren, Austin Warren.
The younger of the Warren brothers.
He's been having a pretty good season. He's always hitting stuff and going flying, but...
Yeah, he kind of rides like your normal 125 moto rider. He grabs a handful of throttle and doesn't let off till the race runs over. Also, one of the smallest guys we see on the circuit, still riding flat pedals.
Really?
Yeah, he pretty much dedicated to flat pedals and only being about 150 pounds. Could work to his advantage, letting it with the way he rides, just a little bit loose.
He just kind of finds the line and lets go, and bike does the work.
Yep. All right.
Did he learn a lot from his brother doing that stuff?
I think that definitely helped. His brother, I believe, a 2-time national champion,
wow.
One of the top juniors in his day, and
barely off.
Just off pace of Bryn, though. 0.6 back. And again, these lower trees. Oh, we got our finish cam back. See how he goes across the line. What is it, Ross?
2:30. That'll put him in third. I'm sure he'll be happy with that, but we still have quite a few riders to go.
Nice and smooth through that high-speed rock bit.
We got Luca Cometti, San Diego. He's been really blowing up recently, huh?
He's one of the most calculated young racers out there. Definitely got a great head on his shoulders, and really more focusing on improving himself than exactly what his race results are, and it seems to be paying off for him.
Yeah, he's been getting top fives almost all the GRTs in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, very, very consistent. Very consistent. The Winter Series down in Fontana. You know, again, so calculated and smooth.
Second year pro?
I believe so. I think he's still under 21 years of age.
Back on the pedals. And he's been training a little bit with Burnett and some of the other World Cup guys, right?
Yeah, the Intense World Cup team. Is also riding a lot with Sean Palmer with that Intense Palmer program for the young kids. Into the first split, Ross. How's he do?
He is just up a tiny little bit. Hopefully he can hold that. I mean, we know the bottom part is a little slower, but...
Oof, sending that drop almost to flat.
Wow.
You see he tried to pre-jump and still over-jumped it just a bit.
He was on a flyer. Ooh, getting close.
Real tight to that tree pad.
Yeah, that exit
Time
turn
to beat.
looks slow.
Oh, we lost our finish cam again. The weather here probably wreaking some havoc on our cameraman.
That'll put him in second. Hopefully that holds. That's a pretty solid time.
Definitely.
Phil Metz out of New Hampshire. He is a joy to watch. Absolutely crazy.
A wild man on a bike. It's good to see him back on the GRT circuit after a few years off. Spending a lot of time building trail and going to school.
Yeah, he just started his freshman year at Lees McRae College.
Ooh, almost losing the front end. That could have been disastrous in this section of track.
So he's your NCAA D1 collegiate national champion for this year.
That's not a surprise with how wild this boy can get on a bike. So much entrance speed into the Asylum Rock Garden. Look at that speed, Ross.
That's crazy, dude.
Into the finish, or not the finish, the middle part of this track, into the big hip jump, which is our first split.
See where he's at, Mikey.
Almost half a second up.
Nice.
He's on a flyer.
Repping that Northeast.
Riding that Trek for Danny Cycles, one of the big bike shops in the Northeast. Got a really good team.
There.
Rolling through that, having to get his braking points. Holding it tight, though.
He carried probably the best speed through that.
Into second.
Nice.
2:13.28.
Okay. Wow, these times are so close.
Stacking up very tight. Our top five within about a second and a half.
Here's Kevin Aiello.
Kevin's first race back from that horrific crash we saw in Port Angeles, where any other rider would probably snapped a femur.
But good thing he's like 6'3", 6'4". He can just
somehow tuck and rolled out of it.
Yeah, Gumby his way through it.
Kevin always looks like he's riding a little bit kind of off the back, lazy, having fun style, but he also can really let it run wide in some of these turns and let those flat pedals work for him. So let's see how that equates on this really high speed section of track up top.
Yeah, his teammates call him Avatar. Oh, whoa, he's so close to that tree.
Running it wide.
Yeah.
Pedaling out of that turn, setting up high.
Dropping into the little pump.
Into our first split. We see some riders just there cutting that corner. Oh,
yeah, he
really cutting that hip.
I wonder if that slowed him down.
Making it a little shorter. We'll have to see. Ooh, scrubbing down too flat. Our cameraman almost taking out a spectator.
The guy was like, "What are you looking at?"
Into these tight turns. Couple little roots there that'll catch you out, Ross.
You just gotta lean and pray, right?
I mean, it's definitely a bit more calculated than that, I think, for these top pros. Oh,
I think he got
13.66. That's a tight one.
0.01 ahead of Walker.
It's gonna put him in the top 5 right now.
Look at all those 13s. Oh my god.
That's gonna be. It's gonna be a matter of pedal strokes.
Here's Kieran McKinnon, as you call him, the silent assassin.
Yeah, he's one of the quietest and most calculated racers we have on track, and really made a push the last couple of years to really focus on his results and improve his racing.
Yeah, and he's designing the bike he's riding a little bit, right?
Yeah, he's one of the employees at Santa Cruz Bikes, so he's one of their in-house testers, helps with the marketing department, and kind of a local to Santa Cruz, so it's good to see one of their locals actually bringing their bikes onto the top of the race circuit.
Came in a bit slow, but definitely exiting with enough. Wow, he cleared that very well.
Yeah, he's also one of our larger riders with a lot of pedaling power, so he can make up for a little bit of that entrance speed by taking a good strong pedal out.
He's a little back, Mikey.
A little bit back at the first split, but again, we said that higher speed part of the track maybe not suiting his
Yeah.
pedaling power.
So this technical section, you think he's going to make up a little time?
I think he definitely can pull some back. If we saw over that little hip there, he was full back seat, letting the bike work, not braking. We've seen a lot of riders struggle. Into this finish jump, almost 50 feet there, and you see our top rider still struggling to not over jump. Into second.
Yeah, right behind Brent. Nice.
2:13.04, just by about half a second. Here, this is the section I was talking, watching that bike, not slowing down over the roots.
Just gapping them. Got Logan Bingley.
Another KHS rider out of St. George, Utah.
He's been having a pretty good year.
Yeah, former Pro GRT overall champ, former Red Bull podium rider, kind of a jack of all trades on the bike, not scared of anything, really.
And he used to race moto for 7 years, so, I mean, these things don't weigh anything to him, and he'll ride all day.
Definitely, he's not afraid to just let it run wide.
They have a really tall front end on the bike.
Yeah, he rides actually really high up over the front of the bike compared to most every other rider on the circuit. And that usually means he has to run some of the stiffest front suspension out there. Similar to like how James Stewart rides on a motorcycle, really up over the front and attacking the course.
It's moto style, huh?
Not necessarily. A lot of, you watch people like Nick Nesteroff, who also looks very moto style. He's really off the back. Oh, he's 0.3 up.
He's up, even though he went way right on that jump, almost missing the landing.
Straightening that out. Oh, gapping into that section.
He's on a flyer.
We see his rear end getting loose around those roots.
He wants it this year. Everyone's coming out to these races. He wants it.
The UCI points are definitely a big encouragement for these riders, giving them the chance to race the World Cups.
That'll be a first. Woo!
New fastest time, making up 2 seconds on the bottom of this track. Into first.
That's crazy.
That's about the fastest time we've seen, even from our qualifier Aaron Gwynn yesterday.
Oh, we've got Lucas Shaw, also Walker's brother from North Carolina. He's one to look for. He's only 19, first-year pro, second best junior in the world last year.
Definitely, Ross. He's been putting in some consistent results. Actually, at Lord's, the first World Cup,
11th,
his first as elite. He finished with a 17th in qualifying and I believe 15th or 11th overall.
Yeah,
inside the top 20, which is no easy feat.
I think he was just 10th at Fort William too.
I think he's going to be a pretty big threat on the World Cup this year. Into these last little corners, Lucas straight lining that out. Every time these riders take out a corner, it takes a couple hundredths of a second. That adds up.
He's very calculated.
0.15 back. That's not unheard of with the amount of time we've seen made up in this lower part of the track.
He just looks like he's on a mission right now.
Wow, completely flat bottoming that Red Bull drop. Luca, East Coast rider, very used to these flat roots gardens. Not even looking like he's trying to break through that, holding all of his speed.
Just leaning in and letting it go.
Into the finish. Let's see what his time is, Ross.
Big old jump. Oh, that's first. That's totally first.
2:09.11.
1.6 seconds on Logan.
That's not an easy feat on a defending Pro GRT champ.
Yeah, Logan looked terrifyingly fast.
Let's take a look at our Athlete of the Week, presented by Angel Fire Bike Park.
I've been racing since I was 4, racing BMX, and I don't know. I guess a lot of people probably have that competitiveness. It just depends on what you're doing. For me, it's racing. I've always definitely more competitive with myself. I've never been one to really focus on other riders. I don't really care what anybody else is doing, especially in downhill. You're basically just racing the clock. And I know what I'm capable of, and so I'm pretty competitive with, or hard on myself sometimes.
You're known for being a really smooth rider. You always look like you're just flying. Have you always been that way?
Yeah, I think for me it's been my style. I mean, BMX was the first thing I ever raced, and in BMX it's kind of all about being smooth and making the most of kind of every inch of the track. And I've never been one to really just hang it out and take big risks or whatever.
This season of the World Cup Series, you won the first race. How is it going for you so far?
It's been great. We started out a little bit rough in qualifying at the first race. I had a crash, but we were able to turn around the next day and win the finals, which is the bigger race, obviously. But off season went really well this year. I found a little bit of speed in a couple little areas that I was struggling with last year.
Tell us, how does a World Cup race compare to Mountain Creek race?
I guess the race is a little bit different just because the guys that are there, there's a few World Cup guys here, and the level is still high. The guys that race the Nationals are still, I feel like, really close to the same speed on these tracks because we race them every year. But the depth at a World Cup is definitely big. You know, you got 80 guys that can all run the pace pretty much, and you know, the top 10 guys, kind of anybody can win. But as far as the course and everything goes, it's pretty similar. The track here is pretty fast, rough. It's got a lot of riders on it, so it gets kind of that World Cup rough to it. I really like coming here. It's probably maybe my favorite race of the year, actually, as far as a whole venue, you know.
So we're out here, there are a lot of young guys who are just starting, they're 18. You're a little older, way more experienced than them and accomplished. How much more do you see yourself doing this?
So I think as long as I can feel like I'm improving and I can win races, I'll keep doing it. So I just turned 27 a few months ago, and so I think at least another 3 or 5 years, and then you know, possibly longer. But yeah, I mean, I think I might have a hard time racing if I wasn't in it to kind of win. You know, I don't think I'd ever be a guy that would just ride around to get 10th place or something, even though that is a good result. I think for me, it's the drive to win is always there, and as long as I feel like I can do that, I'll probably still race.
And the man to beat, putting a hurt on everyone in qualifying yesterday, Aaron Gwynn.
Oh, and he's off.
And outran our start camera into this first rock garden.
Bouncing around. If he doesn't crash, he's got this in the bag.
He's been looking obscenely fast in practice.
Check this out.
Into the rock garden, so smooth, just almost making it like there's no holes, and watching our other riders' bikes just suffer.
Yeah, he just looked ahead, and there he went.
Leaning back, pedaling hard out of the exit, making every little bit count. On the gas hard again. Aaron does not know how to let up on these tracks. 3 more pedal strokes every corner.
He loves Mountain Creek. He loves being here. He loves the tracks. And
2.2 up at the first split, Ross. That's obscene.
On Logan and Luca?
That top section's so close for all of our riders. He put 2.5 seconds into the country's best.
Is he just pedaling everywhere, or what's his...
It looks like he's just not afraid to let the bike ride. Letting it out, using every bit of traction.
Knows every route, every rock.
So tight into that last exit, all the way down that landing.
He looks clean. Oh my God.
5 whole seconds. Wow.
That's America's finest, right?
2:05.8 on Luca Shaw. That is amazing. That was some amazing racing, Ross.
That'll wrap up the pro men then.
Can't wait to see the next one.
Their ODI scoreboard, there you have it. Aaron Gwynn on top, Luca Shaw in second, Logan Bingley in third, followed by Bryn Atkinson and Kieran McKinnon.
Wow, what a day of racing here in the Appalachians. We saw junior expert rider Bruce Klein take the win by just 1/10 of a second over Charlie Harrison, who had a crash but still managed to come in second. And then we saw pro rider Aaron Gwynn tear up the course. We'll see what happens next time in Angel Fire, New Mexico. That's all for this edition of Mountain Bike Mania. Remember, you can see more race footage on our website, mountainbikemania.net, and our Instagram, MTBManiaTV. For all our crew and our sponsors, Angel Fire Bike Park, KHS, and Jensen USA, I'm Samantha McDonald. Mountain Bike Mania has been brought to you by KHS Bicycles, a full line of bicycles sold in 30 countries. Jensen USA, America's #1 online retailer of bikes and accessories, ODI, the world leader in grip technology, and Angel Fire Bike Park, the top-rated bike park in the Southwest.